Hey look, if you're considering a move to Detroit, Michigan, look, that is no small feat. It may look like from a bird's eye view that is simple. Maybe you're looking on Realtor.com or Zillow and you're looking, hey, here's a house for $200,000, here's a house for $300,000, here's a house for $50,000. You have got to understand you're in a market that has many different pockets, many different new construction, rebuilds, remodels, flip houses. There's so many different things going on in Detroit and in the metropolitan area. You could get yourself in the danger by overpaying for a house, or maybe not ever getting a house because you're in an area that's super competitive. In this video, we're going to cover the 6 things you must know before buying a house in the Detroit housing market. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Travis Juntti with the Living in Southeast Michigan team, and let's get right into the 6 things you must know before buying in the Detroit market. And the first thing I want to cover is this Detroit housing market is not a one-size-fits-all. Like I kind of covered on the intro of this video, you're not going to just come in here with a budget and move into town and be like, I'm working over here, I'm going to buy right here, and I'm going to be all good. Look, depending on what area of town that you're moving to, maybe you're moving into Detroit, maybe you're moving into a suburb, but let's look at Detroit for instance. You could move into a $10,000 house, or you could move into $1 million house just a couple of blocks down. So you really have to understand, hey, if your budget is this and you're thinking, well, I could buy this house, I can just put this money into it and make it look like this, and now you're sitting good. That's not all true, right? If you buy into the wrong street or wrong neighborhood, that could be something that you severely regret. That's one thing where I do point people to different websites like Neighborhood Scout for one, where you can kind of have an idea of the different layouts for that. But let's say you're moving into more in the suburban area. If you're moving to Troy or Novi, Rochester Hills, some of those other areas, outside of just on the outskirts of Detroit, all of a sudden your prices jump up quite a bit. So I mean, if you're looking at some of these different areas, you got Troy, like we talked about. You got even down in down in Livingston County. If you're going over to Brighton or Howell, I mean, a lot of these different places, right? You have all these different neighborhoods that bring in these different prices. You might have one house in one neighborhood, you might have another house in another neighborhood. You think they're both the same, but they're actually in these maybe in a more prestigious neighborhood, or maybe it's got different HOA rules. All of a sudden these pricing does change as you go. Maybe one house has more of a lax HOA, whatever it might be. Maybe you're looking in an area that has a little bit higher demand, and you're coming in and you're trying to just put in an offer, and you have no idea what you're offering on, or if the offer makes sense. You don't know the history of that subdivision. These are things that you could sit there and put offers in forever without knowing the history of what that neighborhood is, or what the comps are going for in that area. You don't know what you might be missing, or the steps that you might need to do. That's why you gotta work with the #1 relocation team in Detroit, Michigan. We'll help you on those steps. All my contact information is down below. Maybe you're in an area that is maybe not as competitive, and you're thinking, hey, I gotta come in and unleash. I gotta pay $30,000 above asking, $50,000 above asking. I wanna offer them Taylor Swift tickets next summer. These are some things that maybe you have to think about. Like, and all of a sudden you offer all this stuff, and the seller's like, well, I'll gladly take that, right? Because you thought you were in a competitive area, but maybe it wasn't that competitive. Look, not every strategy works for all the different neighborhoods, all the different little pockets. All these things are different as you go. So you might find an area that maybe is not as competitive. All of a sudden you can offer a little bit different. Maybe you can offer a contingent on selling your home. Those are some things that might vary depending on the little pockets of areas that you're in. So without understanding the area that you're in, you could really get yourself in a pickle, right? Or upside down on a house that you didn't really have to. If you're just kind of price shopping, or not even price shopping, but house shopping online, and you're just going to reach out to the listing agent and say, hey, I want to put an offer in, $50,000 over. Well, you might be doing yourself a large disservice. We talk to a lot of people that are doing that, talk to a lot of people that are doing new construction homes, and you're missing out on the benefits of working with the buyer's agent on that side of it. Like you said, my information is down below. We'll have that conversation. I'm your #1. I'm your best fan. I'm here to help you through that process. A lot of folks that I help moving to the area, a lot of them have a big thing about schools. So if you're looking for a specific school, you might think that, hey, I found a house in this area, but then you realize, hey, that's not in my school. Maybe that's outside your school, but you have school of choice, so it doesn't really matter. Maybe you're going to drive the kids to school every day. That's one thing where you might be able to find a little bit more of a budget home if you're just on the other side of the school district. But keep in mind, that also goes down the road when it comes time to sell as well. So there's a lot of different variables that come into buying a house. It looks easy from the outside, looks easy from 30,000 feet, but as you zoom in closer and you zoom in at every different little market, it becomes more challenging. That's why we're here to help you. Next up on that list is, hey, home prices can be a shock when moving to Detroit, Michigan. You know, you might be thinking, you might be hearing on the news, hey, home prices, Midwest, it's cheap. Find a house for under 200,000. Look, we do have those houses here. We do have those options, but most of the folks that I'm working with aren't looking for those houses. So if you're looking for that kind of place, yeah, you can find it. We have those options, but it's not as frequent as you might imagine. Maybe if you're coming from, you know, Houston, Texas or whatever, and your budget can be much larger, and you're looking at these beautiful big houses for 400,000. That same house, maybe in Bloomfield Hills, for example, might be $2 million. So it really depends on the area that you're in. Maybe you want those homes in that area, you know, West Bloomfield or Bloomfield Hills or whatever it might be, or Birmingham, whatever it might be. You're going to be spending multi-million dollars on those homes. But you just have to keep that in mind. We do have houses that are, like I said, all the way down to a couple $100,000, down to $50,000 if you want it. Depending on the different schools that you're in, like I said, I kind of mentioned briefly before, you know, the A+ schools, the A-rated schools that we have here, you know, Birmingham, Bloomfield Hills, a lot of the private schools in that area, you know, Troy, Ann Arbor, Rochester Hills, Brighton, Heartland. A lot of those homes, Novi, Northville, a lot of those homes are average price point of 450,000 plus, right? So I mean, you're going to be spending a lot more coin than you had originally thought, and going with that, there's also the higher taxes. So those are things that you have to keep in mind. That's why, you know, reaching out to our team early on is you know, kind of your best first start. All information is down here below. We don't want you to get discouraged on that journey and kind of have the, you know, false sense of, hey, I can find a cheap house here, and you start searching and all of a sudden you realize that you're way out of your price point. Let's kind of give you a rough idea just based on, you know, kind of the areas that you're looking to be, kind of give you an idea of what you might be looking to spend for that, so that you are more well prepared for your move to Detroit or Southeast Michigan as a whole. And number 4, and I guess we kind of touched on this a little bit on the previous one, there are homes for every budget when moving to Detroit. So I don't care if your budget is 100,000, 200,000. Look, we have houses for that. 300,000, 400,000. We have houses for that. We have condos for that. You know, if you're looking for that multi-million dollar home, we have houses for that. If we're in Detroit, Detroit doesn't have the best schools, but there are pockets that are, you know, a lot higher. We talked about those briefly. You know, you got your you know, Boston Edison district, you got your Indian villages, you got your Sherwood Forest, you know, places like that that are much higher. The schools are still the same, but you are close to town and certain things like that. But like I said, you know, but typically your prices go up as your schools get a little bit better. That's, you know, kind of plays hand in hand with you know, families that are looking to move here. But a lot of people are looking for, you know, nice schools. We talk about this on our channel frequently. I do have some videos, I think, up here that talk about the different schools, you know, that kind of stuff. But more or less, you know, the top rated schools you're gonna pay a little bit more for your home. Maybe you're not really worried about the schools, or maybe the schools are lesser important. You can find a, you know, home that's maybe a little bit smaller budget, or even a top 50, top 100 school. It still goes a long ways. The education is still great. You can find a nice home that kind of sits inside that budget as well. And number 3 thing you must be aware of is the taxes. Look, when you're online price shopping or whatever it might be, you might realize that you might be trying to find a home in your budget. Maybe you're looking at the tax calculator that they have there on Realtor.com or Zillow or whatever it might be. and you see, hey, my monthly payment might be this, my taxes are this, that might be far from what your taxes could be. I do have a video up here. I do talk about that a lot further, talking about the different taxes and how that relates. A lot of times when you're moving into a house, your tax rates will jump up considerably. And that's due to somebody that may have lived in the home for a long time, and all of a sudden they uncap those taxes and your taxes go way up. And very likely your taxes will be higher here than some of the other municipalities that you came from, besides a few different states that are around that do have considerably lower tax or higher taxes. Moving here might be more of a lateral movement on the tax side of things. And even the different areas, different municipalities within Detroit, within Southeast Michigan might have, or they do have, considerably different tax rates. If you're looking to move, in Wayne County or Oakland County, Macomb County, Livingston County's got lower taxes. Washtenaw County. There's different variables that come into play for taxes. Not only your counties, not only your townships, but also your cities, your villages, the different school districts that you're in. So a lot of different things come into play when considering your taxes and place to live. Number 2 on the list for the Detroit housing market, things you must know is prices are remaining stable amidst this higher interest rate climb. I know a lot of people, even last year, even 2022 in Detroit and a lot of different markets across the U.S. Come June, July of 2022, a lot of those home prices were really starting to go on the decline. And right now we're in November of 2023 as we currently speak. The interest rates are around that 7% range. We are in the fall market, so the prices are going down a little bit, but we are remaining fairly stable amidst the higher interest rates. But there's enough demand in the area that people are still moving into houses, even with the with the higher interest rates. Depending on your mortgage person, there might be different different variables that they can work with, different things that they can do to help with that interest rate. But a lot of these companies are doing a lot to really help with this buyer demand and the effects that it has on our monthly prices. And last thing to be aware of is the seasonal price swings that we have in our Detroit market. Now, this is fairly common with a lot of different areas across the U.S. Some areas might be more dramatic than others. We do have the winter season, so not only do we have school, but we also have winter, where a lot of people don't want to be moving, doing all that kind of stuff in the winter, in the snow, in the cold. It's not the most ideal. So typically in the fall market, which we're sitting in now, typically the prices do have a slight decline as the holidays kind of kick in, as we're kicking into kind of right around when kids go into school in September, and even leading into that. So, a lot of times even in August, their prices start to kind of level out. Maybe September they might go down a little bit, October might come up a little bit, but for the most part, in the fourth quarter, the houses prices tend to go down a little bit. And as we get into January, February, the prices kind of level out, and maybe they kind of go up a little bit as we approach kind of the snow melt season and into March and into April. And obviously, here, just like most other places, in the summer the prices do go up a little bit. So you do have those seasonal price swings. That's been going like that for a long time in history. And one thing to note about the different seasonal swings, not a lot of people will be telling you this. A lot of people will be telling you, hey, do your buying in the spring, don't your buying in the summer. But a lot of people that are looking to maybe take advantage of the market, a lot of savvy buyers are out there in the fall, looking to buy their houses. Then they don't care about the school, they don't care about the about packing in the snow. So maybe they're taking advantage of buy down programs. Maybe they're able to buy their house contingent. So I think the fall times when I find a lot of different savvy buyers, and working with a savvy agent like myself, just trying to take advantage of the different opportunities out there where a lot of other buyers aren't really looking. Another thing to keep in mind is, in the fall market or in the winter market, you might not need to be as aggressive. I've had a lot of people that are looking at a house and they're like, hey, I love this house. I want to buy this house. What do I got to do? Do I got to go 10,000 over, 20,000 over? What do I got to do? Because they're used to coming in from the summer market where they're doing multiple offers. Sure, if I was just a normal buyer's agent that didn't really care, I might be just, let's throw in that offer 20,000 over. But hey, it's a simple communication. I can talk to that agent. I can find out kind of where the status is at. Maybe we don't need to come in 10,000 over, 20,000 over. Maybe we can go in a list price, whatever it might be. Knowing the swings of the market, the swings of the area can help you save a lot of money in the long run, and also help you get that house that you've always dreamt of. Now, don't get me wrong, there are houses that do receive multiple offers throughout the year because they're pricing them appropriately at the fair market value. So there's still homes that are getting multiple offers, but I just want you to keep in mind that there are different seasons of home buying and home selling and different demand levels throughout the year that we have to be cognizant of. Now, I do hope that you found some tremendous value out of this video on the 6 things you must know before buying a house in this market. Now, I'd really love if you would like this video. It really helps our algorithms. Hit that subscribe button and make sure you hit that little notification bell to make sure you get notified anytime we put out new content. And look, all my contact information is down here below. Call, text, email, whatever it is that's best for you. I'd love to have that conversation, set up a call, and discuss what your strategies might be as far as moving to the Detroit area. Until next time, this is Travis Juntti with the Living in Southeast Michigan team. We'll see you on the next video.